Hello, my handsome lesbians. Here I am again with this hot but spicy story. Actually have seen this movie for like many times, but still never get done with, and it has been living a rent-free in my heart. Clearly you're kinda like movie. In a Jewish Orthodox synagogue in London, Ronit father, who is the frail, had just died, collapsed whilst giving a sermon. As funeral rites commence in London, Ronit, who was an exiled daughter living her life as a photographer in Manhattan, during a photo shoot was told anonymously of her father's death. Wounded by the news and in a vulnerable state, she gets drunk in a local bar and slept with a random man. Maybe that might heal her pain a bit. Ronit flies home to London, where she feels out of place in the Orthodox Jewish community she left behind. She is greeted at the home of David, her childhood's friend, a son figure to her father, who was taken aback by the unexpected return of his childhood friend. Her welcome inside the home was hostile from those in the community gathering in her father's honor, though her aunt greets her more openly, but the air was frosty between Ronit and her uncle, who blamed her for leaving her father. Ronit was upset and angry that she wasn't informed of her father's illness and that her father's obituary claims he was childless. Despite tensions surrounding Ronit's sudden departure in the past, David invites her to stay with him and his wife. Ronit was shocked to discover that her best friend David is married to Esti, who is both their best friend. Esti, now a teacher at an Orthodox girls' school. It was uncomfortable between the two women, as complicated past is clearly hanging over them. The next day, Ronit visits her father's grave. After further prayers at their home, David, Esti and Ronit went to a round-table dinner at her uncle's house with Ronit few families. At the dinner, Ronit tries to talk to her uncle about selling her father's house, but he suggested another day for the topic. Conversation turns to Ronit's successful career as a photographer and Ronit's personal life, why she changed her surname for her career. They were all shocked at Ronit's surprising response, but not as shocked as to Esti's truthful and serious comments supporting Ronit's response. Ronit couldn't stand the odd conversation anymore, so she excused herself to go home. While David, upon Esti's request, also leaves to walk her home. On their way, Ronit breaks down to David, hoping her father knew she truly loved him. David, struggling against the rules of his religion, tries to comfort his childhood friend without touching her. Ronit visits her uncle at his wigmaker's shop the next day to continue the discussion of selling her father's house, only to be informed that her father never left the house to her, but to the synagogue. Her uncle blamed her. If only she had been there for her father in his later days, things might have turned differently. She leaves and soon runs into Esti outside a supermarket. They visit her father's house together. A rundown mess full of medical equipment. It is not so much the house that Ronit wanted, but for her father to acknowledge her in his will. Esti admits that she does not want Ronit to leave again. Past feelings are reignited and they kiss, at first timidly as Ronit pulls back, and then passionately. Ronit retreats once more, confused about her feelings. They leave the house and Esti confesses that she was the anonymous caller to let Ronit know of her father's death. She tells Ronit that she married David, their best friend, a man she doesn't love romantically, as she was mentally unwell following Ronit's sudden departure, and married him upon Ronit's father's suggestion. As they relax into each other's company and kiss again, they were interrupted by a known woman and husband unexpectedly. They were unsure how much they saw. Esti rushes home, tense. She almost embraces David, but their marriage still lacks the passion she has with Ronit. It appears that the husband and wife earlier had saw it all. The next day, Esti was called by the principal at her school to warn her about her undignified public behavior, and also David was approached by the elders of the synagogue to tell him about his wife's public act with Ronit, in which David argued that Ronit was only grieving. After school, Ronit had waited for Esti outside school to know how she was doing after the rumor. Esti asked to stop if it seems wrong, while Ronit agreed. But the saying, feelings can't be easily thrown away, not when it's true. Esti told Ronit she doesn't want her to leave, So they both conclude to be careful and cautious not to get caught. After which they both went to another city by train, check into a hotel, and made out with each other. Later that day, David tried to make love to Esti as usual but realized the willingness was no more, even though they lacked the spark in the relationship. But the only thing they both shared was willingness and tolerance for each other. Only then, David realized the effect of Ronit on Esti and how it might affect their relationship. The fact David was actually aware of Ronit and Esti relationship before Ronit left the community, before he married Esti, and that puts David on edge. They argued about it with each other. Meanwhile, Ronit was downstairs listening to them argue. Ronit wasn't pleased with herself being the cause of their argument. So she told them at dinner she was leaving. David agreed with her, while Esti disagreed, was sad and angry about it. Ronit indeed left for the airport that night, only to receive a call from David that Esti was missing since last night after she left. Ronit cancelled her flight, went to look for her along with David. Places she could be. Places they went together. They finally found Esti. Esti demanded her freedom from David before telling them both the big news that she's pregnant. It was supposed to be a happy news, but rather sad for David, learning that her newly pregnant wife wanted to leave him. Esti claimed that she grew up in the community, lived her life without her choice, and wanted her child to be freely to make decision of her own, and can't do that if she stayed married to David. Ronit and Esti went together to the synagogue along with the people of the community for the final service to honor the frail Ronit's father. David was so heartbroken and distressed, couldn't coordinate at the service. He storms out to catch his breath before later called on to give his teaching, his thoughts of the late frail, and to accept his new position as the next frail. David came back to base his topic on freedom, made notice of Ronit the late frail's daughter presence, looked his wife Esti and told her she's free in style, after which he apologetically declined his new position as the frail. Esti went out to hug David. While Ronit was watching, David noticed Ronit watching, asked her to join them. The three friends hugged each other as a sign of, "I'm sorry, I forgive you and thank you." Finally, time for Ronit to leave. She packed her things and said her goodbye firstly to her best friend, David, and to Esti. Esti took it like a champion and said her goodbye to, wishes Ronit a long life. They both wish each other a long life. Just as the saying, goodbye is the hardest word to say, especially to your lover, Esti couldn't bear Ronit leaving. So she ran after her and gave her a goodbye kiss. Ronit told her she believed she did be a good mother. They told each other they love each other and promised to meet each other again. It was sad for both of them to leave each other, as she cried. Ronit visited her father's grave once again, took it picture and left. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and visit my other videos.